Hello everyone, Mark here, Mark's Max Muscle, and it is yet again time for a fan-requested video. Marco Christic commented, Marks, can you make a matchup between Dorian and Ray in 1994 and say once and for all, which bodybuilder deserves that sando? I assume Marco Christic has that ominous laugh. As we all know, and if you don't, then you should, Dorian Yates won the title. He won the Mr. Olympia title, the gold medal, and the Sandow in 1994. But if you talk to any die-hard bodybuilding fans, they will tell you this man right here, this statuesque figure, deserved to get that win in 1994. Now, do I believe that? Well, that's the question of the day, and that is my job and my task that I have before me is to judge these two statuesque figures, and keep in mind these are the pictures that I have to work with, so obviously we'll never really know if we were not there and we were not a judge. But I have to say, in this front relaxed position, there is a definite argument for each man for a victory. One could look at the silhouettes and the size, look at from the calves to the waist to the lat, the differential from the lats to the waist, and those shoulders, those big broad shoulders of Dorian Yates, he's the clear winner. But then those with good eyesight, and you really notice the detail. Look at the detail of Shawn Ray, those abs, those fine cuts. The aesthetics definitely goes to Shawn Ray. Now, here's another view here. If I could, I would use the clearest pictures that I can, but we use what we can. Dorian actually looks slightly better here, a little bit more separation in the stomach muscles, but as does Shawn Ray. Look at the size of his quads. Of course, Dorian has those massive calves for Shawn to deal with. Not a bad set of calves on Shawn Ray either. I don't know. At the end of the day, I would give a slight whiffle of a point to Shawn Ray in the front relaxed. Now, in the rear relaxed position, Yates should definitely have an advantage in these shots. Of course, when I look at that lower back of Shawn Ray, he is very crisp, every bit as conditioned as Dorian Yates. But my soul, look at the muscle separation of Yates. Of course, we have this one, more fair, they're both on stage, same footage. And yes, look at the lats, look at the traps, especially those traps of Yates. Wow, Ray's calves look very weak in this here comparison. Nice little Christmas tree, though, I will say, for Ray. But having said that, 1 point for each front and relaxed position goes to each man, so no point is delivered. Now we get into these, the meat and potatoes of this little operation, the mandatory shots, and we begin with the front double bicep, of course, in which case Shawn Ray takes an easy point. Now, don't get me wrong, I see those calves, I see those lats of Dorian Yates, but one thing I also see is that distended midsection. Not so much distended, a little bit bloated in comparison to that vacuum of Shawn Ray, but one thing I definitely do see is that torn left bicep of Dorian Yates. Puts an onion in his ointment. Now, I don't want to waste too much time, but I will show these two more excellent, more clear pictures. And more obvious for that torn bicep of Dorian Yates. So an easy point. Like I said, I don't want to waste too much time on this, so we'll skip on into this front lat spread. I know some of you guys are professional or amateur bodybuilders and are on a vigorous eating schedule, so you want to have your shake before and after this matchup. Hard to tell from Dorian's point of view, so let's throw this one on in. And, well, this is one of them age-old questions. Who's winning this shot? Wow, Shawn Ray, one of his best front lat spreads I've ever seen here in 94. My soul, my soul. But at the end of the day, look at those tumors of lats of Dorian Yates. Very Dorian-esque, so to speak. So I'm going to give him a slight edge on this one, and I'm going to mark a little star beside those points that are definite points. And this one does not have a star because I got to tell you, Shawn Ray looks fantastic. Now, here we have the side chest pose. Another age-old question. Whose is better, Dorian Yates, much bigger, more presentful, taller, of course. Shawn Ray crouching down, creating a lot of thickness there. I like Shawn Ray's aesthetics a whole lot more, that tiny wee waist. Of course, there is these two that we could go by. Dorian Yates, wow, he must have taken a lot of diuretics because there's the Saturday show and the Friday show, and this must be the Saturday show. It looks like they put him in an oven. He's red as a lobster, people, but I don't know if it's enough. I'm going to give Shawn Ray just the slightest point in this, and like I said, I'm going to take all this into consideration at the end. So it's not just a numbers game here, people. This is a tough little competition. In the side tricep, it was never Shawn Ray's strong pose, never at all. Dorian Yates, one of the best side triceps of all time, even in this bloated state. Of course, that gut's nowhere near as bad as the guts that you see today. Look at the size of his tricep. I don't want to waste too much time. Like I said, you guys need your shakes. So let's head on into the back shots. And this will tell a tale, ladies and gentlemen, because even though this here Christmas tree flex is not a mandatory shot, there's no actual point, but I take a great deal of emphasis, or I put a great deal of emphasis, rather, in conditioning of these men, and also the calves. A lot of people ignore the calves. Can't see them in this shot, but I always keep a good eye on the calves and the conditioning. The 2 C's, Marks Max double C's. And I have to tell you guys, ladies and gentlemen, Shawn Ray is standing up for himself against Dorian Yates. I mean, maybe not as conditioned in the lats there, but darn close, and a little more conditioned in the glutes, I must say. Not too many men on earth in the history of the sport could stand up against Dorian Yates in this, but I gotta tell you, Shawn Ray, conditioning plus. Now, that is very interesting. Did you notice Dorian Yates' glutes? They became softer than a baby's glutes. Wow. On back development alone, I would still say Dorian Yates has this one handily, in fact. Look at the separation of those traps. But look at the glutes of Shawn Ray. Might be just the picture. Let's switch over to this one here. And no, those glutes of Dorian Yates are quite soft. The camera is out angling Dorian here, making him much smaller. We'll stick this one on here. Oh man, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. I know there's a group of people picketing around my house right now, and there's a large group that are just against anybody saying Dorian Yates would lose in any back shots. They're very religious when it comes to Dorian Yates' rear lat spread or his rear double bi. But I look at the glutes too, people. I look at the legs too, people. And Shawn Ray, I don't know if he has this one. See, I'm even scared to give this one to Shawn Ray. Those people are starting to throw rocks at my window. But I don't know. Like I said, there's no star behind any of these close calls. But I wager to say Shawn Ray's doing a darn good job here against Dorian Yates. Now, in the rear double bicep, this is a much better shot for Yates this year anyway, in 94. The glutes have some striations in them for sure. This time doing battle against Shawn Ray's. Shawn's still leading in that though, and the legs. Of course, the calves will always go to Yates. Lat separation, lat thickness, and grainy nature, hard conditioning definitely goes to Yates there. A little bit softer in the part of Shawn Ray. All right, let's bring these ones on. The better pictures. Definitely some nice striated conditioned glutes on the part of Dorian Yates, making up for the rear lat spreads. Of course, Shawn Ray just outstanding. Definitely harder, grainier conditioning of that Christmas tree area of Yates. Bigger as well. More symmetry. I believe Shawn Ray's back has more aesthetic appeal to it, but I don't know. At the end of the day, if I was giving an edge to Shawn Ray in the rear lat spread, I'm definitely giving an edge to Dorian Yates here in the rear double bicep pose. And here we have the ab and thigh shot. This is also a very controversial pose. These two have many poses where I was at a loss of who to vote for, such as the front lat spread, but of course Dorian Yates had a little bit more of an edge in that one, so we can say that one is a Dorian pose. But the side chest pose, wow, that's much like this one, very close, too close to call. Now the rear lat spread as well. Way too close for me to call. Now, let's switch over to this one here. And Shawn Ray, I would say, definitely has an edge in this ab and thigh shot. Now, Dorian has an argument. Look at those lats. Massive lats creating that V-taper. But Shawn Ray's abs are just much more aesthetic. This is a Shawn Ray pose. And also that front double bicep shot was a Shawn Ray pose as well. And this most muscular, another for sure Shawn Ray pose. Now this is an oftentimes seen comparison, this here most muscular. But here's the thing, people. This was not a mandatory shot in 1994. So we can write this one right off of the charts. As well, that Christmas tree flex, I took that one into consideration for sure. As well as I did with the most muscular, but I cannot really count it as a mandatory shot. But lo and behold, at the end of the day, I still have Shawn Ray leading by 1 point, 1 point only. Is that enough to topple a current and residing champion, or defending champion? Well, in bodybuilding, you really have to knock the man out, especially back in the 90s. So did Shawn Ray knock Dorian Yates out of the park? Not really, no. A lot of these poses were very close. But strictly speaking, as a straight-up bodybuilding match, then Shawn Ray may have leaked out a slight win in this one, depending on who was judging it, of course. But no sense of arguing. Dorian Yates is the 1994 Mr. Olympia champion. He did win the Sandow, and the history books will never change. As frustrating as it may be for Shawn Ray and the diehard Shawn Ray fans, which I am a fan. I am quite a huge fan of Shawn Ray's physique more than his attitude. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, this fan-requested video, and keep the great ideas coming. If you haven't already, go ahead and tap that subscribe button. Increase my sub level by at least one more. Tap the thumbs up button as well. Helps me get this video way out deep into the deep end of YouTube. The deeper depths. Have a great day.